When you see a technically challenging shot on screen, that's the director trying to tell you something. Hey, I'm Mike. I studied film, I work in TV, and I love movies. Today, we're talking about 3 technically challenging scenes in movies, but we're not just going to talk about how the filmmakers accomplished them. We're going to talk about why the filmmakers did them. The director's job is to tell the story of the film visually. Everything you see on screen is a word in their vocabulary. You can bet nothing gets on screen by chance. If the camera rack focuses from something in the foreground to something in the background, that's the director telling you, hey, look back there, there's something you should see. So when a director decides to complicate their production by crafting a shot that might take days or weeks to film, you can bet they're trying to tell you something. First up, Touch of Evil. Orson Welles is a master filmmaker, as demonstrated by Citizen Kane and War of the Worlds. But the opening to Touch of Evil is a thing of beauty. It's a 4-minute tracking shot through the streets of Tijuana with a ticking time bomb in the trunk of a car, and we follow it until it explodes. Welles wasn't the first person to explore the long take, nor would he be the last. In fact, there's a longer take within Touch of Evil, but it's mostly dialogue and doesn't contain any explosions. But I digress. The use of the long take in this scene builds tension. Cutting in film is often used to extend or shorten time. In this case, Welles is not cutting to create suspense. We're waiting for the explosion. Every second that goes by without a cut is a second closer to boom time. In the original version, released in 1958, this time is used to roll the opening credits. We hear the iconic big band mambo-esque sound of Henry Mancini, a subtle reminder that there's a ticking time bomb in the trunk of the car. More on this in a moment. For the next 4 minutes, we follow Charlton Heston and Janet Leigh as they walk the streets of Tijuana, their paths crisscrossing with the rigged car. When the pair stop at the U.S.-Mexican border, the rigged car is beside them as they're being processed across. They engage in some lighthearted banter with the border agents without a clue of what's about to happen, while we're at the edge of our seats. Finally, the car drives away and explodes off screen, and we get our first cut. On the surface, it's impressive because of its technical prowess. The choreographed scene over several city blocks with background actors, moving cars, a couple donkeys, and a techno crane attached to the back of a truck was pretty impressive. Nowadays, that kind of coordination would be hard, but not impossible. Back then, with the equipment they were using in 1958, it was infinitely harder. Dig a little deeper, and we find we're getting a lot of backstory here. We meet Miguel and Susie Vargas. He's a hotshot Mexican detective, and she's his American bride. This cross-border love story will later be tested by the events which are about to occur, a crime on the border that divides the countries and the newlyweds. It's widely considered one of the greatest shots in cinematic history. It's technically innovative and sets the stage for a nail-biter of a plot. But let's talk about the re-release. Welles, notoriously, was intimately involved with all the editing of his films. But Touch of Evil went through several editors before Welles was removed altogether. This very pregnant pause is me considering discussing Orson Welles' blacklist from Hollywood. We'll do it in another video. After its release, Welles released a 58-page memo detailing the changes he wanted made, but the studio did not comply. In 1998, American film editor Walter Murch decided to re-edit Touch of Evil according to the notes detailed by the late director. If you aren't familiar with Walter Murch, I'll give you a quick bio. He was classmates with George Lucas and good friends with Francis Ford Coppola. Murch is a legendary picture and sound editor, having edited the sound for Lucas's THX-138 and American Graffiti, ended the sound for The Conversation, The Godfathers Part 1 and 2, and edited picture on Apocalypse Now and The Godfather 3 for Coppola. He also edited Ghost, The English Patient, and The Talented Mr. Ripley. He's arguably one of the best editors in the business. The reason I tell you all of this was because one of the biggest changes made to Touch of Evil was in the opening 4-minute tracking shot. Orson Welles had envisioned it unencumbered by titles and with seemingly nat sound coming from the clubs of Tijuana. He wanted salsa music from one club, rock and roll from another, mambo music compared with jazz. He wanted this push and pull of American and Mexican cultures, this dichotomy that would run through the rest of the film. When Touch of Evil came out, many people were wowed by the opening shot, but we only got a small taste of why Orson Welles decided to open his film in such a manner. In Murch's version, we get a much clearer picture of what the director was intending. Touch of Evil is one of the greatest films in cinematic history, and Murch's version is the accepted version because it's so much closer to what Orson Welles had intended. 2. Children of Men. Alfonso Cuarón's apocalyptic tale of humanity in a death spiral because women can no longer get pregnant. So simple in its premise, and so complicated in its repercussions. Julianne Moore is the leader of the resistance, and she has tapped her ex-lover, Clive Owen, to get the last pregnant woman and the salvation for humanity to safety. Along with Julianne Moore's bodyguard and a doula for the pregnant woman, the five cram into a tiny Fiat and escape the city. There is a 5-person conversation inside of a compact car in one shot using one camera. Have you ever tried to do anything inside of a compact car? Let alone shoot an action scene? Oh yeah, we'll get to that. After Moore and Owen play mouth ping pong, and they've left the confines of the city, the car is ambushed. Cuarón has said that they could have done it on green screen, but he felt it was important to shoot the 4-minute scene in one take, without cuts. The only way to do it was to invent a rig that never existed before. Of course. This is it here. The director, the camera operator, the focus puller, and the gimbal operator were mounted on top of the car. The gimbal used was a 2-axis system called a sparrowhead and dropped in through the roof of the car. It was attached to 2 power slides, allowing them to move forward and back and left and right within the car. Best of all, it gave them a clear shot out the windows to capture the action of the ambushers. Driving was accomplished by placing a stunt driver in the front and the back of the vehicle, low to the ground so as not to be seen by the camera. The seats inside the car were mounted on hinges so that actors could fold down as the camera moved across them and then pop back into place as it cleared. The scene involved heavy coordination, not just between the camera team and the actors, but between the stunt coordinator and the pyrotechnics team. Before the scene is through, Moore's bodyguard gets out and shoots 2 police officers, and we exit the car with Clive Owen. The actors eventually get back in the Fiat and drive away, leaving us behind. That's Alfonso Cuarón pulling the cape off the woman he's just sawed in half. We see the car, unencumbered by production, drive off. I'm sure there's a little CGI involved, but it's not just a technical feat for the sake of a technical feat. So why did Alfonso Cuarón build this entire rig just to shoot this one scene? Like I said, it was so important for the film for us to see what's happening inside and outside the car in real time. The entire sequence is amazing and done with very little CGI. I guess the ping pong is CGI. Finally, Contact. Jodie Foster plays an astrophysicist who's dedicated her career to proving there's intelligent life in the universe. It's an absolutely brilliant film about belief. In it, we get a flashback scene where Ellie's on the roof of her house setting up telescopes so she and her father can stargaze when she hears a crash, and she goes to investigate.
Dad?
Ellie finds out that her father has had a massive heart attack. The scene we're going to talk about is when Ellie runs to their cabinet to try to get the medicine that she thinks will save her father. We track back as Ellie runs in slow motion towards us. Then it's revealed we're watching the entire scene through the mirror of the medicine cabinet. Ellie's arm crosses in front of us to open it up. Wait, what? What's happening? What's going on? It's so subtle you may have missed it on first watch, but like I said earlier, when a director does something like this, he's drawing your attention to something. Visual effects supervisor Ken Ralston said the original intent was for Ellie to find her dad in mid-heart attack. The plan was to shoot it in bullet time, an effect made famous in The Matrix. Ellie would find her father in mid-heart attack, frozen in air, with popcorn and debris just suspended there, and she'd be moving around him in real time. I understand that approach. The moment her father dies changes Ellie's story arc. That's the moment she becomes hyper-fixated on astrology, a love she got from her father. Screenwriter Robert Towne explains that Robert Zemeckis, the director, changed his approach to this after watching how the actors played Ellie. By drawing our attention to Ellie's actions that night, we see the genesis of the guilt she carries for not being able to save her father, a point that we see reiterated in the next scene.
Should have kept some medicine in the downstairs bathroom. Then I could have gotten to it sooner.
The following scene also shows her discontent in religion and faith. She's a scientist, after all. While her father's death had an impact on her, it's Ellie's inability to save him that impacted her. That's the moment Zemeckis wants us to see. Also, and probably more importantly, by giving us the mirror scene, it shows that the medicine or the answer is always just out of her reach. Slowing this moment cements Ellie's character for us. Her never-ending search for the truth, her constant reach to know more, knowing that she just worked a little harder, the answer's just within her grasp. Like I said, it's subtle, but it's immensely more powerful than what would have been. The director's job is to tell the story visually, and these 3 directors have proven they are speaking volumes without uttering a word. Thanks for watching, everybody. Film is about community, so leave your thoughts below. I love reading the comments. And while you're there, like and subscribe. I'm Mike, and I love film.